My name is Mary Smith, and I'm 25 years old. I've been married for 3 years to Mike, who is 3 years older than me, and I work part time. At that time, I was 6 months pregnant. During a regular checkup, I found out that our baby had a congenital disease. When I told my husband, he did something completely unexpected. What is this? What do you mean?
Isn't it obvious? It's a divorce paper. I want a divorce.
The day our baby daughter's suspected illness was confirmed, Mike handed me a filled out divorce paper.
I actually have a mistress. I'm going to marry her, so I want to divorce you.
Wait, are you serious? Our baby is about to be born.
That was the only thing bothering me. But it seems like that's not necessary anymore.
What do you mean?
I mean, the baby has a disease, right? People say parents can love their children no matter what, but not me. I can't love a child who will spend their life in a wheelchair.
What?
But in a way, it's perfect. Thanks to that baby, I can give you these divorce papers without any regrets.
He continued to say cruel things and then left the house. Even though I tried calling him on his cell phone, he didn't answer, and I desperately went out to find him. Then I saw him near the train station. Mike, wait. I called out to him, and beside him was a woman about my age, and she was clinging to his arm. Why?
You're really desperate to follow me this far. No need to hide it anymore. Let me introduce you to my fiancée. You can probably guess who she is.
It's been a while, Mary.
The mistress clinging to his arm was my high school best friend, Jessica.
I didn't mean to steal him, but it just happened naturally. Sorry, Mary. By the way, Mike told me. The baby really is sick, huh? How unfortunate. Being sick before even being born. It might be tough alone. But hang in there, I'm rooting for you.
Jessica, you.
Don't give me that scary look. It's your fault for neglecting Mike while you were sick during pregnancy. No wonder he cheated on you. If you didn't want him to be taken, you should have held on to him properly.
That's how it is. Make sure you submit the divorce papers I gave you and move out.
With those words, the two of them left me. I submitted the divorce papers after that. I decided to live with my unborn child. That was 6 years ago. The daughter who was in my womb then is now in first grade. She has congenital disabilities in her legs and ears, but she's grown up to be a bright, kind, and wonderful child. Then one day,
Hey, is that you, Mary?
while I was walking in a large park with an ocean view with my daughter in her wheelchair, someone called out to me.
It's been ages. How long has it been?
About 6 years, right? How have you been?
The two who spoke familiarly were my ex-husband and my ex-best friend. Well, goodbye.
Hey, wait. Isn't it cold to brush us off after all this time?
Of course. Why would I want to get friendly with you?
Come on, don't say that. More importantly, listen to this. After our divorce, I quit my job and started my own business. It's small, and I don't have many employees yet, but I'm pitching to big companies, and it looks like I'll get some deals.
Well, so?
And what about you?
Then he looked down at my daughter in the wheelchair, and he said something unbelievable.
Is that the child from back then? So your kid turned out to be like that.
What did you just say?
Yeah, I was thinking after we divorced, maybe the diagnosis was wrong. But looking at her, it seems the doctor was right. I made the right choice divorcing you.
What?
I can see she can't walk, but can she talk? Can she communicate? What about school? Is she going to a regular school?
Hey, can you understand what I'm saying?
My daughter looked up at me, confused as he spoke to her.
Oh, she can't hear either?
Maybe she doesn't understand our words.
What are you saying? What is this about?
Well, she's pregnant now, but because of what happened to you, she's worried.
Of course, everything is going well, so there's nothing to worry about. But the thought of having my child like that makes me anxious. I could never raise a child like her. I wanted to ask you what it was like if I ever met you again.
Don't worry, you're overthinking it. But yeah, seeing this in person does make anyone nervous.
What?
But wow, you must have it tough. Raising a child like that on your own. Well, you gave birth to her, so it's your own fault. Good luck not dragging each other down.
Sorry to disappoint you, but I'm not alone. I remarried someone who cares about my daughter much more than you ever did.
Really? You remarried? Your new husband must be really unlucky to get stuck with this. I feel sorry for him.
They laughed loudly. Seeing them laugh, my daughter smiled brightly too, thinking it was just a joke.
She probably doesn't even understand they're talking about her.
Really pitiful. Glad she's not my kid.
That was the last straw for me. Hey, enough already. Just as I raised my voice, someone spoke up.
What a coincidence running into you here.
It was my current husband, John, along with his brother and his brother's wife. But as soon as Mike saw John, he started trembling and turned pale. His mouth hung open in shock.
Why is John here?
Oh, sorry for the late introduction. She's my wife.
Your wife?
Yes, today we're celebrating our daughter's elementary school, starting with my wife, our daughter, and my brother's family. We were on our way to pick them up at the station.
From their conversation, it seems they know each other. Hey, do you know him? What's your relationship?
He's the CEO of a company that recently came to us for a business deal. It seems he's struggling to find clients since his startup. He came personally without an appointment to ask for a contract with us.
Yes, I remarried the CEO of a large company. And the person who came to his company for business was my ex-husband.
When did you and she?
About 3 years ago, we met, got married, and became a family with her daughter.
I see.
Finding out that the man I remarried is the CEO of the company he's trying to work with, Mike started sweating profusely and stood there, frozen.
So, why are you here? Is there some trouble?
Oh, no, nothing serious.
Actually, they were just.
Hey, wait a minute.
What?
Well, you don't have to tell him. It's just some casual talk.
Casual talk. That?
Are you sure there's no trouble?
No, it's nothing like that, right?
Yeah, nothing serious at all.
If it's nothing serious, then it's fine to talk about, right? Or is there something you don't want him to know?
That is.
Ignoring the two who fell silent at my words, I told John everything about my relationship with them and what they had just said. John's expression changed immediately, and he glared at Mike.
Is what she said true?
Oh, well, that is,
I see. Then we need to discuss this further.
John then knelt down to my daughter's eye level and spoke to her in sign language as he usually did.
We have a little more to talk about with these people, so can you go ahead to the restaurant with your uncle and aunt and wait for us?
My daughter read John's signs, nodded, and conveyed to the in-laws that we'd be late. She smiled at the two and left with John's brother and his wife. Mike and Jessica stared in shock. We could tell exactly what they were thinking.
My daughter is truly amazing. At just 6 years old, she's so mature that my wife and I rely on her. She's positive about her situation and always kind and polite to everyone. She's our pride and joy. So why did you say such horrible things to her? What were you thinking?
That. I'm really sorry. I had no idea John had remarried Mary, and I said such things.
So they deeply apologized to us. But John, clearly furious at their insults to our daughter, continued in a calm but stern tone.
Why do you mention my name in your apology? The people you should be apologizing to are my wife and daughter, not me.
Well, that's...
If you truly felt sorry for them, you wouldn't be mentioning my name. You're only sorry because you realized my wife's new husband is someone important to you.
No, that's not.
And what were you thinking, speaking like that in front of my daughter? She's your daughter too. How could you say such awful things?
I didn't mean...
Is that what you wanted to say to your ex-wife who you saw for the first time in 6 years? What on earth did you want to do? You wanted to feel superior, right? To look down on and insult my wife and daughter to show how happy you are now. That's why you hurt them.
No, that's not it.
Yes, it is. Otherwise, there's no reason to insult someone, especially in front of your own daughter. Did you think it was okay because she can't hear? Just so you know, even though she can't hear, she can understand a lot from reading lips.
What?
Though she probably doesn't realize you're her biological father.
But she smiled at us.
That's her way of coping. She knows people who insult others do it to get a reaction. So, she smiles to defuse the situation. It's clear that at 6 years old, she's more mature than both of you. And you told my wife that divorcing her was the right choice. I agree with you. Because you chose to leave her and marry someone else. I met this wonderful woman and our lovely daughter.
John then delivered the final blow to the speechless pair.
By the way, about that business deal, consider it off.
What? When I came to pitch, you seemed so interested. You said it was a good idea.
At the time, yes. But after hearing what you said to my wife and daughter, I can't in good conscience do business with your company. Because that's exactly it. Who would want to contract with a company whose top executive easily insults people? A person who can't show empathy or respect has no business leading a company. Let me be clear. There's no benefit for us in contracting with your company. In fact, it would be a disadvantage.
Hearing those words, Mike became furious. His face turned bright red as he snapped back.
Why not? Just because I'm her ex-husband? You think it's okay to mix business with personal matters?
John answered calmly.
Maybe you're right.
Then,
I knew about you before you came to pitch your business.
what?
About 2 years ago, when my wife went back to visit her family, I was organizing some old boxes she brought when she moved in. That's when I found a photo of you and her.
I didn't know.
I was jealous. Seeing a photo of her with someone who treated her so badly made me think she still had feelings for you. So, I never mentioned it to her.
That's not true.
I understand. You kept one photo in case our daughter wanted to know about her biological father, right? But I couldn't forgive the man in that photo. This man hurt my wife, and I couldn't forget his face. Then, out of the blue, I got a contact from a CEO of a company I had never heard of, wanting to meet. When I saw it was you, I almost turned you down on the spot. But as you said, business and personal matters are separate. So, I decided to hear your presentation, and honestly, it was better than I expected. I thought it might be worth considering if there was potential for future growth. But I couldn't get past what you did to my wife and our unborn daughter, so I asked to put it on hold. After today's incident, I've decided it's impossible to make a contract with your company.
Wait, I sincerely apologize to your wife and daughter. I deeply regret hurting them with my careless words. Please reconsider the contract.
That's exactly the problem. Your apology is just a means to secure a contract with us. That's why I said it's impossible.
Then what should I do? My startup will go bankrupt if we don't secure a contract with a major company soon.
What does your company's early bankruptcy have to do with me?
But that's...
Surely you're not suggesting that because you're my wife's ex-husband and the biological father of my daughter, I should help you out, are you?
No, that's not what I meant.
Did you forget what you told me earlier? Don't mix business with personal matters. I'm returning your words to you. If you're so desperate for a contract with a major company, find another one. We're not interested.
The truth is, other major companies have already turned us down. Your company is our last chance. I'm begging you.
Then Mike asked John again. It seemed that if John's company didn't sign a contract, his business would indeed go under. But that didn't change John's decision.
As I said, today we're celebrating our daughter's starting into elementary school. We're meeting her at the reserved restaurant, so we'll leave now. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to tell you.
One more thing.
After you divorced my wife, you paid the alimony in a lump sum, but it seems you only paid child support for the first month and then stopped completely.
That's because I needed to save up to start my own business, but I can pay some child support now. So please.
I'm not asking you to pay. In fact, it's the opposite. We don't need your child support anymore.
What? What do you mean?
We're about to finalize the adoption of my daughter, so you won't need to pay child support anymore. I wanted to make sure you knew that. Now, let's go.
Yes.
Wait, John. Please hear me out. Mary, say something.
You heard him. That's all there is to it.
No way.
Ignoring Mike as he collapsed in tears, we headed straight to the restaurant. Our daughter greeted us with a smile, and we enjoyed the rest of our time together. However, that night, something unexpected happened. Who is this? Hello. I received a call from an unknown number on my cell phone.
It's me.
Is that Jessica? The one calling was Jessica, my former best friend who had joined my ex-husband in insulting my daughter and me earlier. How did you get this number?
I heard it from a mutual acquaintance, but that doesn't matter.
What do you want? What's so important that you had to get my number from someone else and call me?
About what happened earlier today. Can you talk to John about reconsidering?
What? What are you talking about?
I know we said awful things to you and your daughter. I didn't know she could understand what we were saying by reading our lips. I'm truly sorry. But if things stay like this, his company will really go bankrupt. We'll end up homeless with our unborn child. So please, I beg you, even if it's just a short-term contract until his company stabilizes, please ask John.
Jessica shamelessly begged me to ask John to make a contract with Mike's company. Do you even hear yourself? You stole my husband, insulted me and my daughter after seeing us for the first time in 6 years, and now you're asking for help? Please don't mock me. This has nothing to do with me, so handle your own problems. Goodbye.
Wait, Mary,
What now?
I know I'm being shameless, but we have no other options. As you know, we eloped. We swore we wouldn't rely on our parents. His parents hate me because they know why he divorced you. My parents are the same. We have no one else to turn to. If John leaves us, we'll end up living on the streets.
So what?
Didn't you hear me? I'm pregnant.
When you two betrayed me, I was pregnant with my daughter. You knew that, didn't you? Until the day I found out you were his mistress, I confided in you about my daughter.
That was.
When I was crying to you about the possibility of my unborn child having a disease, what were you thinking? While you were comforting me, telling me not to worry, were you secretly thinking how pathetic I was?
No,
Then how could you do this?
I know, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Is that enough for you?
What is that supposed to mean? Your pride hasn't changed at all since high school.
What?
Do you remember what our history teacher used to say? Everything you do, good or bad, comes back to you. You laughed it off back then, but now, Jessica, you're living proof of his words.
Well,
When I went through my divorce, my parents and friends supported me because I wasn't the one who betrayed someone.
what are you trying to say? If you have something to say, just say it.
Okay, I'll say it. This is your own doing, Jessica. The reason you don't have anyone to help you now is because of your actions. Asking for help while ignoring your own faults is just too much. Even after growing up, Jessica remained my best friend. We had our fights, but she was always the first person I talked to, whether I was happy or sad. Finding out she had an affair with Mike broke my heart. It felt like a hole had opened up inside me. When I asked why you had the affair, you said it just happened, but it was because you couldn't stand seeing me happy, right?
Who told you that?
What does it matter? Planning to confront them and throw more insults.
No way.
So, how did it feel to take my happiness away? Are you happy now? Jessica fell silent. You took my happiness out of jealousy, and now look at you. And by the way, even if my husband decided to contract with his company, it would still go bankrupt soon.
Why would you say that?
Think about it. If his company can't survive without a contract with us, it has no future. He probably started it because he wanted to get rich. Do you really think a company founded on such a shallow reason will last?
That's.
Look, even if I tell my husband, the decision is his as the CEO. Whatever happens, don't blame me. With that, she said, I understand, and hung up. But I didn't need to tell my husband about it. He had been listening to the conversation while I was on the phone. So, what do you think? Are you going to contract with Mike?
Of course not. As I said earlier, we have no intention of making a deal. He might try to pitch to other companies, but I doubt any major company would contract with him.
What do you mean? His presentation wasn't bad, right? Shouldn't there be other companies willing to contract?
That's what I thought too. But after that, I looked into his company and found out it's already in serious financial trouble. They started with very little capital.
Capital.
Capital is the money needed to run a company. It comes from the founder's own money or investments from shareholders and investors. If there's not enough capital, the company faces many issues. For example, if the company doesn't make enough profit, it becomes insolvent, meaning its liabilities exceed its assets, leading to bankruptcy. And if the company has little capital, it loses credibility with business partners and financial institutions. No one wants to contract with a company on the brink of bankruptcy. Even so, you can start a company with little capital. For example, IT-related jobs that can be done with just one laptop. But he didn't start his company out of passion. He did it for money, not understanding that his lack of capital increases the risk of failure. He probably underestimated how much he needed.
John explained that my Mike's company had been in a precarious situation from the start, and no company would want to contract with them.
He used to work at a major company as an elite employee, right?
Yes, we met through mutual friends. He used to say, I joined a major company, but my dream is to become a CEO. Despite that, he had almost no savings and paid my alimony in a lump sum. When I heard he started a company, I wondered where he got the money.
He could have borrowed from a bank, but given his situation, he probably got only a small loan or none at all. Either way, it was reckless.
A few months later, it happened.
It seems his company finally went bankrupt. After we turned him down, he approached other companies, but none of them were interested. Being a no-name company with little capital and on the brink of bankruptcy was part of the problem, but it was also about him. He only approached well-known, established companies. They saw through him and decided he was too risky.
As expected, Mike's company went bankrupt. John said that because it went under so quickly without making much profit, Mike was likely burdened with a lot of debt. So, Jessica must be going through a tough time now.
What?
A few months ago, a mutual friend from high school told me that Jessica had given birth, but her baby was born with a serious illness, and now with her husband's company bankrupt and buried in debt. My prediction was spot on. According to what I heard from others, Mike and Jessica were in deep trouble with massive debts. Having no other options, they went back to their parents for help. However, the two had forced their marriage. Especially Mike's parents, who knew about my situation, were furious. There was no way they would help. So from their rundown apartment, you could occasionally hear the two of them having huge fights.
It's their own fault, but the child is innocent. I hope their child can grow up happy.
Yeah. As John said, adult quarrels have nothing to do with children. I truly hope their child can live a happy life.